Hello, guys and girls. Welcome back. We got another video here today, and today, pretty simple. Just doing another discussion video. I just wanted to point out some stuff I've seen, some stuff I'm noticing, kind of shift about Pokemon, kind of the future of Pokemon. That's it. Is Pokemon like a kid's game anymore? Like, talking to the camera obviously, but I'm part of the problem. I don't see a whole lot of kids in the hobby anymore. Like, obviously, you have the kids that get the occasional booster pack. There's one or two kids that maybe show up to GameStop when they do drops. Like, and I'm talking like kids that come with their parents, but most of the time it's the parent that was like into a Pokemon and is like doing it, and then the kids like also getting something with it, and like that's cool. I like sharing the hobbies with the parents and all that, but like kids being like the main focus, like, and then it's not an adult involved. Seems like that's kind of just gone away. It seems like adults run everything now, which I mean, that's fine. Adults always kind of run stuff. I like my shiny cardboard too, but definitely kind of an interesting shift. I've been seeing that like Pokemon's not as like it's a kid's game, but there aren't the kids. Kind of weird. Now, obviously, Pokemon's always been for kids. Like, yeah, I'm sure everyone here can remember the time when Pokemon was the biggest thing. I know for me, it was '06, '07, around I was like first, second grade. Diamond Pearl was coming out. Everyone had to have Infernape. He was the coolest one. I was a Pip-Up guy for that time. Like, everyone can remember the opening booster packs in the lunchroom and trading cards, and somehow you end up with fake cards. It's a core memory for a lot of people. Like, I'm sure '90s people can relate. Gen 1, Gen 2, like everyone can relate to it. Even Gen 5, 6, like everyone at some point can relate to it. But I feel like recently that hasn't been as big a thing. And somebody like me, I used to work in childcare and all that. And I remember just like pre 2020, before COVID, like we had to ban Pokemon cards from the kids bringing them in because there was so much wheeling and dealing from kids trading cards that they shouldn't trade, parents saying, I don't want my kid moving their cards and losing them and all. So, stuff is bad. Like, I remember after COVID, like I was still working there for a couple months after, and it's like, well, not after, but like after the COVID, like, the kids weren't as into it anymore, and that was during that last boom. So I can only imagine what it's like now. I obviously don't work in that sector. I've gone off to college, done my own thing now, but it's still like something in the back of my head that says like, do these kids still like care about it? Because this is an important thing for the future of Pokemon. Is like how you get a collectible that keeps relevance is you get younger people that also care about it. So in the future, when they start earning money, like millennials are now, that they want to pay $100,000 for a Charizard, or that cool card they had when they were 5 or 6. Like, they want that card and they'll pay money for it. That's how these hobbies like grow and invest and all that. But I'm not seeing that as often now. So I'm not gonna throw shade on anyone because like I'm part of the problem with as an adult. I like to buy my shiny cards. Like, I like to open stuff. I like to collect. I'm doing the Trainer Master set, but like you don't see like kids with super big collections because they're getting priced out. Those $20 collector's boxes at Walmart, those don't even sit on shelves anymore. Those get bought out. And you know who's booing it? The adults. The kids aren't going and buying out all that stuff. They don't have the capital, the money to be able to go and do that. So what does $20 as a kid buy you? You get your weekly birthday birthday allowance of whatever kind. They go to the store. I want some Pokemon cards, and one, there's nothing on the shop or on the shelf. So it's like, okay, we'll go to the card shop or we'll go online or something. Everything's double, triple price. They want 151. They want Prismatic Evolutions because they like Eevee. They can't find their parents can't find them anything that's like reasonable. It's like, okay, I want to get the pouch for my kid. I can't find it. Like, it doesn't exist for a reasonable price. It's $60 instead of 30 that my kid thought it was going to be when I gave him the birthday money. It's just kids are getting priced out already when they're kids, which means in the future they aren't going to have the nostalgia attached to this sort of product like I do or Gen 1 people do. Like, they won't have that attachment, and that's a bigger deal than I think people realize. You have products now that are going through this exact same thing. You have old '60s cars that are now dropping in value because the boomers that are the ones that grew up with that, has nostalgia attached to those cars, that pay high dollar for '60s cars, they're dying off. Boomers are leaving the United States, and you know what I mean. But like, there's not those people spending that type of money because the Gen X's and laters don't care about that sort of stuff. They're whatever. Harley Davidson's having the same issue. Young people don't care about Harley Davidson. Maybe like fashion and streetwear. people, but like the actual motorcycles, it's like older people. My generation doesn't care about a Harley Davidson motorcycle. So Harley Davidson is now going through an issue where, 10, 20 years from now, they're going to have just declining sales year over year over year because nobody's buying the bikes unless they go through a whole brand reinvigoration. And I don't want to see Pokemon go through that sort of thing. Like, it's one of those things where in the life cycle of Pokemon, it can seriously affect the long term of like viability of Pokemon, especially if you are a Pokemon investor or anything like that. Like, you need kids to be attached to this sort of thing, or it's not going to have value later on, because then you're just like, there's no kid that cares about paying $500 for a booster box that he opened when he was 10, because he didn't open it when he was 10 because it was too expensive. His parents can afford it. So yeah, that's another added part, is the adults are, But yeah, try and imagine being a kid right now in like the time of social media. I'm thankful I grew up right at the tail end of all this, but I can't imagine being a kid right now and you're somehow on TikTok, or your parents let you on TikTok, and it's like all you see is Moonbreons, $500 slabs, like all these like super expensive things, and it's, I want that. And it's like, you're never gonna be able to afford that as a child, like unless you're from a rich family, and then obviously your parents can buy that. But to the average kid, they're seeing this stuff and immediately recognizing that, hey, I'll never own that. Like, it's whatever. I don't really care about it because it's a cool card, but it's expensive. I'll never own it. Like, I'm not gonna be able to pull it in Prismatic Evolution. It's just, kids aren't getting the attachment, and that's the whole point of this discussion. I would love to hear what other people think, but there's no backbone to support this long term if there's no kids and viability. Like, they're being influenced by social media, and social media runs everything, and they're seeing all these cards and $30,000 breaks, and they know that they are not going to be able to do that. So, the worst part about all this, like the biggest piece about all this, is I think Pokemon knows what they're doing. They know that they're catering towards adults now, because guess what? Adults have the money. They're Nintendo's quarter, GameStop, like, they need the money now, because if the company doesn't keep succeeding, the CEO, everyone's out and they're kicked out the door because the company's going to clear house. Like, they're catering towards adults because adults have money, and that makes sense. But Pokemon knows what they're doing. Like, they are catering towards adults. They're putting gambling. I mean, it's always been gambling, but the low hit rates, like the odds to hit stuff, the shiny artworks and all that, like that's for like the kids. Most kids, you hand them a basic common, they're cool with it. But like the shiny, beautiful, picturesque stuff, like that's what adults want. That's what Pokemon's catering towards, is adults wanting these cards, right? Like that's what Pokemon's doing basically, is they are catering towards adults now, and I think kind of sacrificing the long term of it. And I mean, obviously Pokemon's the biggest media franchise in history, like there's no doubt about it. I think they will always have relevance. I don't think they'll die out. That's ridiculous. But they are definitely catering for the now and popularizing the adults rather than focusing on it being a children's card game. And like I said before, us adults are part of the problem. Like, we're pushing the kids away. The scarcity, the focus on returns of opening packs, the value amounts, that's pushing. Kids don't care about that. They don't. I promise you. Like, no kid is, unless they've been like influenced by parents or whatever, it's like, oh, I care about this card because it's $200. No, if they like a card, they like it because it looks cool. I know I had no idea what my collection was worth until I got older and realized, like, oh, this has monetary value attached to it. Kids don't care about this sort of stuff at all. And us as adults have pushed them out because of what we're doing with our scarcity, the scalping, the clearing shelves. All that has created this problem for the kids, and Pokemon's not helped with it. So we are intentionally making this problem upon ourselves for the future in some sort of way. So it's an interesting dilemma that we're faced with. So yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. Probably gonna wrap this up. But, what do you feel about it? Like, let me know in the comments. I mean, I feel like Pokemon, yeah, it's still a card game, but I feel like technically we've kind of just like pushed kids out of this. Like, they don't have the same desires for the stuff that adults are having. Like, kids aren't the one chasing Umbreon, it's adults doing that. And in a way, we're pushing them out. And, I think if we want the long-term health of Pokemon and TCGs to be in a good spot 10, 20, 30 years from now, we need kids to want the product. Like, that's not even a no argument thing. You will need somebody to have a nostalgia attached to it, so they will, when they're older and making income, they will want to look back on their child and be like, oh, I remember this, opening a pack and pulling this cool card, and I had no idea how much it was worth. We got to get back there. Us as the adults in the community, we got to do better. We got to not chase the $1,000 cards. We got to, get the kids back involved. We need to have, game stuff needs to be back on the shelves. Kids need to be able to find stuff that they want. But no, we'll see what happens. Let me know in the comments what you think. Let me know what your thoughts on this discussion are. Like, it's interesting for sure. Catering towards the now versus the future, like sacrificing short-term profits for long-term stuff. No, it is what it is. Pokemon's gonna do what they're gonna do. They know that scarcity and hype drives their profits up. They're not stupid. They're a company that makes money. Interesting take. So, hey, let me know.